Mitosis by
Ryan Divins.
and Shime Sunder.
Mitosis is an asexual way of reproducing and creating daughter cells.
The first phase of mitosis is called interphase. In this phase, the cell does its job and grows larger.
Next, in prophase, the large chromatin within the disappearing nuclear membrane becomes pairs of chromosomes. The nucleolus also disappears.
Then, in metaphase, the chromosome pairs start to line up in the center of the cell.
Next, in anaphase, each pair of chromosomes is pulled apart by the spindle fibers, and the sister chromatids are separated.
Then, in telophase, the chromosomes line up on opposite sides of the cell, and the nuclear membrane starts to reform. Cytokinesis begins, and the cell starts to split.
Finally, at the end of mitosis, the cell completely splits into two new daughter cells. Each of them is identical to the parent cell and the other newly created cell. If mitosis goes smoothly, this is how it should look.
The number of cells should double each time the cell cycle is over.
Mitosis is very important for unicellular organisms. It is how most of them reproduce. They use mitosis to asexually reproduce by dividing. They create copies of themselves.
Mitosis is also very important for multicellular organisms. They use mitosis for repair and to grow. The cells in multicellular organisms multiply by mitosis. They use mitosis to help repair any damaged or lost cells. They also use mitosis to increase the number of cells in the organism to help it grow.
Mitosis is a constantly occurring process. The cell has to regulate and control its division. The cell does this by using two types of proteins, cyclins and kinases. Cyclins are a group of proteins that are produced during important stages of the cell cycle. Cyclins are used to activate kinases proteins. The control of these proteins helps control the cell cycle. These proteins signal the cell to move on to the next phase. Another way the cell cycle is controlled are the checkpoints. The cell goes through different checkpoints. The checkpoints are at different parts of the cell cycle. The first checkpoint is the G1 checkpoint, where the cell checks if it has grown to a certain size and has been doing its job. The next checkpoint is the G2 checkpoint. This is where the cell checks that the DNA has been replicated correctly and that any damages have been fixed by repair enzymes. The final checkpoint for a cell is the M checkpoint. This is where the cell checks that mitosis is going smoothly. If the cell passes all the checkpoints, it begins a new cell cycle.
Sometimes the control mechanisms for the cell cycle don't work. Sometimes the cell will pass a checkpoint even though something is wrong. If a cell with damaged DNA passes the checkpoint, it can divide into more defective cells. This can cause cancer.